Okay, so the objective you presented in the beginning of the lesson was students will be able to determine how the size of the slope affects the distance that the car travels. And you were addressing the NGSS, Engineering and Design standard, as well as some of the other science standards that go along with it. And you were able to let them create their vehicles, test them down the ramps, and then there were variations on the students wanted to assemble the vehicles, which allowed them to have some variation, and it was all very well done. I'm going to show you a clip now from the lesson at the very end of your lesson, and I want you to think about how you had the students articulate the mastery of your lesson objective. So kind of listen to yourself at the end, listen to your students at the end, and then I'm going to have you reflect on kind of what you saw. There we go. Okay, so then you made really great connections with your co-teacher and the classroom teacher about what to do next. But I want to hear, what do you think, describe what you were trying to do at the end of your lesson to kind of articulate that mastery.
So closure at the end of the lesson is always really difficult in the lab because we more times than not run into a time crunch.
Yeah.
And I think right here at this time frame, they were getting ready to go to PE.
Yeah.
So I had to get them out the door really fast, which is hard because it's something that we always have to deal with. So one of the things is just to remember to take the time to stop and give them more opportunities to discuss. Had I had them stop, talk to your partner about how the slope affected your vehicle, and then had several students give me their input, I think that would have been a much better way of closing it than ending it. So
and I feel like I saw that as well, and maybe like a ticket out the door or a writing on the whiteboard, because then you can kind of point out those individual students, like, oh, I need to go back and touch base with so-and-so, or I can talk to the co-teacher now, and she can kind of help support what didn't kind of sink in during the lesson. I think that's like perfectly said. What other changes, kind of after we've gone through all this, would you make in this lesson?
I think just having more time to sit down and really work out the kinks of that co-play and co-teach with the teacher. The teacher most of the time was on the side of the class rather than being part of the instruction, and the purpose of the lab is to have both teachers teaching, and then to have them take the teaching over. So as you can see, I was doing most of the instruction. So. And that's difficult just because there is very little time to go through that process with the teachers. So that's probably one of the things that I would like to change eventually. Make a progression.
I could see that. I think you had a really strong lesson, and like you said, incorporating that other body in the room, the other teacher who has a whole wealth of knowledge to kind of work together. I think that would be a really great adaptation to the lesson.